So I guess we are
we're
live.
online
Yes.
and live.
Welcome to today's Love Bomb, ladies. So happy to be here today. So last week was a bit special for me because we were apart. Normally we're like spending every day together, and I was almost every day. That's the truth. And last week I was in Switzerland for communication training, where I was hired as an actress, which is an amazing job to do. You know, like you can play like difficult people or people with issues or people who are like the people have to train how to submit like bad news to me, and it was just amazing. And these people were very special kind of people. They were all men in the military, in the professional military. And I came back with such a treasure again about how men work and how the difference is between men and women. And like, you're going to feel all the things that I took with me infused into our love bombs, into our work, because I think it's such an important topic, you know, like really like finding a way to like bringing the male and the female together in a healthy, beautiful union.
Yep.
So
very true.
Yeah, so this was like a little gap. It was actually totally not what we're going to talk about today, because today we're going to talk about something totally different. You can introduce that.
Today we are going to talk about why lots of women, actually most women, feel lonely lots and lots of times. And this has mostly nothing to do if you are in a relationship, yes or no, because there is a reason why this happens. Hi Greta, hi Greta, hi Mira and Dawn.
Hi, you
Welcome.
Ladies.
Yeah.
Welcome to today's Love Bomb. So yes, like we have been talking to so many women, as you know, like might be clients, maybe in private life, might be like from my other business. And so many women are feeling this deep loneliness, this deep, some kind of a disconnection, and they cannot even like really put a finger on it or really name it in the perfect way, but they just feel like something is missing. There's something, I just feel kind of lonely. This is mostly the word they come up with. And we wanted to know, okay, where is this epidemic coming from of women feeling lonely, even if they are in a relationship, even if you think, oh my goodness, they have everything, why don't they feel happy and connected? And there's a very specific reason why. And I don't know if you want to dive into it or if I should start.
I think we just dive into it together, baby. Well, mostly it has to do because like when you look into the older times, women always were the connectors. Women took care of the tribe, women took care of the sick people, women took care of the fact that there were connections made also between other tribes. So they were some sort of the spiders in the web. And because of this, they also needed very much support from each other.
Exactly.
And back in the days, because people were living in community, this support most of the times constantly was there. But when we put this on today's society, there lots of times is not so much support. Women, especially women who are in businesses, who have their own business or who work in a more executive environment, really do not feel and experience this connection anymore, and therefore they have to step some sort in a more masculine modus, because they have to be a man on the work floor, enabled to actually survive there.
Absolutely.
And this also creates that they get more and more disconnected from their feminine. The feminine is about receiving, about flow, about surrender. We all know that. And because of this disconnection with these things, because this is actually the biggest nourishment for a woman, feeling connected, feeling in or being in this receiving mode, being in flow, they don't get fed anymore. Actually, they don't get nurtured and nourished with the energy that makes them aligned, that makes them alive, that makes them feel energetic.
So shortly said, it's not you, it's the patriarchy. It's the system. It's a system. And when I say patriarchy, when we say patriarchy, it's not about like men against women, the bad men and the good women. No, because under the patriarchy also is like this whole system also suppresses a lot of the beautiful masculine energy. It's like a toxic masculine energy that we're talking about.
Yep.
And like, because, you know, like, I mean, like when you know me, I love strong women. That's why I went into like this whole women empowerment industry and want to help women to really live their dreams and to like truly be who they are in the beginning. But something like when this whole feminism came up, and I'm a big fan of feminism, don't get me wrong, but I think there was a big misunderstanding, especially in the business world, because we women don't try to put the feminine aspects on top, but we try to become men. And that's the problem, because we are not men. We're not built that way. We have different, and when we say men, like, of course, also men can have female traits, and we all also have masculine parts within us, because in the end, it also, well, actually, it starts within us and it ends within us, because we all have both these polar sides. But the problem is when we try to be a better man and prove ourselves to be as good as men and like having all the traits men have, we're actually burning out, because it's not in our nature. It's not what nourishes us, what Boss said. It's nothing that really makes us feel connected, A, with ourselves, B, with our partners, and C, to source itself.
Yeah. And you really see that actually in all levels of life, because we now talk about business life, but you also see it in connection with your partner. Whenever you are not aligned and not connected to the source that creates the energy where you thrive on, which makes you like powerful and blissful, then you cannot be like the most authentic version of yourself as a woman, because you lack this energy that makes you feel like kabam, this is me. Also in the business world, it would be so great if business were not predominantly patriarchal.
Like dominated by patriarchy.
Yes, because like all the monetary system, businesses, schools, everything is built on patriarchy.
Yeah.
And therefore women cannot bring their most beautiful, most powerful, most strong energy into the world. And therefore they feel disconnected and lonely, because they really, although life seems to be perfect, if you go on a deeper level and then more deep and deeper and deeper until you really get into the DNA, into the body cells, because it's really a collective thing, there is already stored that women cannot show up as women, actually.
Because it's dangerous, right? It's also for us dangerous to shine. It's dangerous for be who we are, because we get burned at stake. And as like this book I already mentioned last week's Love Bomb, I'm going to talk more about that because I'm such a big fan of this book, the Patriarchy Stress Disorder. Like what she writes, Dr. Valerie Rain writes there, like they used to burn us at the stakes, and now they just hand us over the torches. And it's exactly what is happening. They're handing us over the torches so that we burn out. We're burning out because we're not getting the nourishment that we need to thrive as a woman, to feel connected as a woman. And this is the system. The system is wrong. It's not you. If you try to be the perfect mom, to be the perfect businesswoman, to be the perfect partner, this is all like this competition thinking, this feeling of there's something not good enough with who you are, and with this whole striving and like reaching and going further, which is amazing if you're reaching for the stars. But there's a difference between like really like going for what you really desire, or going for what you think you have to do in order to be enough.
Yeah, and therefore there's also lots and lots of underground competition between women. If you look at men, of course, there's some rivalry and competition, but it's mostly worked out in quite a healthy way. Of course, you have bad examples, but it's healthy most of the times. Women, it lots of times becomes toxic. It becomes in the shadow, because women are not used to use their actually very natural competitive energy, because when they do, they get slapped on the fingers, because sisters should be there for each other. Sisters should tune into each other's feelings. Sisters should always understand what is going on within each other. And therefore it is not allowed as a woman to be healthy competitive, because this is not done. And if you do that, you are accused of being too much in your male energy, being a bitch, being a jealous cow, or whatever. And this is another reason why women really cannot step up as who they are. And still, if you look in society, for example, Priska already mentioned the witch burnings, but also, for example, in certain parts of Switzerland, women were only allowed to vote in the 1970s.
In the 90s.
In
the 70s, it got introduced in Switzerland, and like in some parts in Switzerland, it took till the 90s until we actually had the right to vote.
So it's
Imagine
30 years ago.
Imagine this.
Ago.
It's like I was 10 when women got like a voice in certain parts of Switzerland. And like this whole, we have to serve the man. We're nothing. We're a possession. We're like just there to really serve the man, or to get married to certain men, to some kind of bring families together. This is what we were. And this is fucking stored within our DNA. I'm sorry, I'm getting really angry here, because it's so sad. And there's really a trauma that we have inherited just by being a woman.
You can already see it in all the Netflix series like Vikings, The Last Kingdom, the one about the Queen in England, The Crown. Even there, like, women were merely there to be beautiful and to serve the guys. And this energy is still ingrained in the DNA.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not like swap and it's change, but it's about being aware. And also men need to step up there to really create a safe space in which the women can connect to this really deeply ingrained feminine energy again. And there are lots of ways how you can do that. And it's too much to share here in depth. But Priska has also written a piece about it, which will be posted here tomorrow. And there will be a short list with advices that you already can do. But it's big inner work, because the change really needs lots and lots of energy to happen.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, when we are having this trauma, and I'm calling it a trauma, because a trauma is actually when something happens and you start to change your behavior in order to feel safe. And I mean, like, we have all these little things where we don't speak up or try to hide our emotions or think, oh, this is not good enough, or, you know, like all these, like what Dr. Valerie Rain calls the prison guards up, actually telling us constantly to shut up or to play small or that we're not good enough. And of course, men have that too, not only women, because again, patriarchy is like an asshole also to men. It's not just to us women, especially to us women, but also to the male society.
Yeah. We're not saying that like patriarchy is only bad. And we're also not saying that we now all of a sudden should have a matriarchy, because that's also not good. It's about equality. We really need to have this egalitarian society where new rules are
like
made.
hand in hand.
Yes, hand in hand. Men and women really have to start working together.
Absolutely.
And men need to see the innate, powerful wisdom that women have, and women have to start not seeing men as suppressors and as boogeymans, because this doesn't help. And I really feel, even in spiritual woo-woo communities, I really feel there's, with lots of women, and it's understandable, because what we already been talking about, it's in your DNA, so it's not something that you can switch over. But I really lots of times still feel such a anger and such a fear and such a hate towards men, which is also not helpful to create this egalitarian
but I
community.
think first it has to come out. I think this is why we need to have the awareness, and it's not about the men versus the women, it's about us versus the patriarchy and the whole system. And again, it's not that the system is in general just rotten, but in some ways it is rotten, sorry to say so. And we need something new, and we need to co-create something new, and I'm all in for this. This is what I'm aiming to. But therefore we have to heal, and we can heal by having the awareness that we do have a trauma there, and that we do need healing there. And so it's really good to really be aware of these prison guards, of these voices in your head that tell you things that you can or cannot do. and that want to keep you small, and look at them and really look, okay, when did they come up first? When, like, where is my safety issue stemming from? Maybe it's not even in your life, maybe it's in something that happened to your ancestors, or in, I don't know, a previous life. I'm calling it that because I believe in reincarnation, but it doesn't even, if you don't even have to believe in that, because it's proven that, for example, like when something has happened to your grandparents that you maybe not even have met, that this, like, for example, when your grandparents were in the Holocaust, they were like Jews, and they were, I don't know, they were transported in some camp, that this experience is within you, and all of a sudden you get, for example, afraid to go on a train, and you have no clue why you were afraid of going into a train, and when you're like looking back and you see the story of your grandparents, you're understanding, and you just inherited this. So it's so important to be so like aware and be like really conscious about these stories and feelings, and there's nothing wrong about it. It's not about blaming yourself, because we go constantly there. I'm strange, why can I not do this, why am I having these fears? No, it's not about blame. It's about being very compassionate with yourself and looking into these fears and looking, okay, where are they coming from? And sometimes only by knowing where they're coming from, things can change. But like what we all actively can do is really like being more comfortable with being a woman, like looking consciously for connection. How can I connect even deeper to other people, to myself, to my desires, to my dreams, to my body? Oh my goodness, to my body, to my senses. Am I really present in my body? Am I really, am I feeling the fabric on my skin? Do I know like how my feet are feeling on the floor? Like when somebody's touching me, can I really be there? Do I taste the food I'm eating? Like, am I really present within my body? And there it starts the connection. Am I connected to my breath work?
And it's also important to maybe the coming week or weeks, you can look for things that happen in your life where you have the feeling, oh, I am so incredibly out of connection, or oh, this might be this might have to do with this whole thing Bas and Prisca were talking about the patriarchy and the energy that is installed in our DNA. For example, when you have a girlfriend or a woman in your surrounding and she is successful, and you always react in some sort of a way, go within and really ask yourself, okay, what is happening here? Why am I doing it? Where does it come from? And really look for these things in your life. How are you reacting to your children? What kind of connection do you have with your mom, for example? What kind of influence did your mom have in your life, and how did this form you into the woman that you are now? And the voices that you hear in your head, are they your voices or the voices of your mother or the mother of your mother? And really try to get more clarity there, because this is really helpful. And there will be much more things in the article that we are going to post tomorrow, but this is already a thing that you can start with today.
Are there any questions? Because I know it's a very big topic, and we just made it very we really
compact.
Yeah, and we really broke it down to something very small, but it's big and it's running deep. And actually, you could have a whole year of just talking about this and looking into this specific topic, because it's a really important one. And I don't know why exactly, but I get like my head gets turned, or like our heads get turned more and more into this direction, and about seeing, hey, okay, this system is really not like serving us, and it's also not serving couples, it's not serving healthy relationships. And we have never learned how to have a healthy relationship with ourselves, with each other. And how can we really like honor the masculine in a new way and honor the feminine in a new way? And how can we bring these things together that we can really co-create something together in this unity? And this is really something that is so important, that we really feel called to shine some light on this. And I think it's actually the reason why we're doing what we're doing, because we feel that the world needs something new.
Yeah, so if there are questions or things that you want to share, you can do that now. And of course, you can always do that later as well, because this video is from now on in the group, and you can rewatch and you can respond, and we will also respond to the things we see. So if there is anything, this is the moment. And if not, then we are going to wrap it up, I guess.
Exactly. But just get really aware of these voices. Just start there. What kind of voices, what kind of prison guards, as Dr. Valerie Rain names them, are in your head?
Yep.
What are they telling you, and how can you track them down? And in some ways, it's really also good to really go for a practitioner and look for help, or for a coach if it's not like something that is really heavy, but you really feel there's just something I have to kind of try to take apart. So it's really helpful also to get some support from outside, because sometimes we just cannot get all these pieces and bits together to a whole puzzle. So it's sometimes good to have somebody from the outside looking on your puzzle and to say, okay, maybe you can try this there, and you can really just push them around a bit. And sometimes it's just a little shift and you already have the whole picture.
Yeah. And also, if you don't know where to start, for example, because what Priska said, it's so incredibly much, you can also reach out to us. You can PM us, and we are gladly to dive into it and look for ways how we can support you.
Exactly, because these prison guards, these voices, these like beliefs that we have deeply ingrained within, this is what actually keeps us from getting what we want. And all the stories that we keep telling ourselves in our heads, some like the ones we made up ourselves, some are inherited. So like there's plenty of voices that we're having, but it's so important that we start paying attention to them.
Yep.
So
for the women who just came online now, we are going to wrap it up, but you can start at the beginning again.
Exactly.
You can rewatch the video.
It's an important video.
Yeah.
Really watch that. It's an important one.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here. Thanks for being part of the change. And we'll see you next week here.
And we are really, really, really very curious to also see reactions from you. How is this playing in your life? How did you experience this? Really, really try to write and try to connect and respond to each other, because then in community growth gets created.
Exactly.
And we can do it together.
Exactly.
But then you have to open up as well.
Exactly. And I can tell you, after working with so many women over so many years, in the end, we all are ashamed of the same things. Mm-hmm. We keep telling ourselves the same stories. We're not so different after all. We all think, oh, I'm so unique. I'm not normal. I'm so different from everybody else. If we all would open up and just talk about our shit and all the stuff that's going on in our heads, we're so similar, ladies. We're so similar, like seriously. And of course, we have our individual little tweaks, but in the end, we really have so many things in common. And there is already where the healing is starting, to just by showing up, by opening up these things, by really letting yourself let yourself being seen, that, and like also others, like seeing others in their stories and in their pain. So thank you so very much. And so happy to be here with you guys. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.